Hello, species value energy system. Do you see the lights? So I heard on 104.2 that Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg is an amazing thing, Facebook. But what he calls mental illness is associated with what our founders left that no one understood. Because they're facilitating a relation, identities to a relationship of databases and to force share policing in relationship to our nations have to share campuses, intercampus relationships and fears for the safety of our students at home and abroad. Not just our students, our natures and identities of intermilitary police, of interbranch police, in conjunction with systems and identity relationships, criminally foreign influenced, but internation. Black and white was for this, specifically because this is a fact-driven nature organized crime. Because to keep science criminally foreign influenced, to keep everyone not understanding the breaching method to all areas. Our founders were fact-driven nature slaves. They wanted us to explain this. But the correlation means they left for us to explain it, require us to demonstrate how otherwise is being pretended as the Constitution defended. And how it has to do with how each branch is thinking, because they know they have a nature of all kind of nations, identities police share. They have to have to maintain control over things like fire dangers and stuff like that in relationship to the organized crime with the zoning laws. That was slavery, worse than witch trials. Fact-driven nature slavery laws against speech. If you met to speak about, this is what I learned in CCSU, in notes. If you met to speak to talk about building infrastructure outside of internation monitored database relationships. They didn't say internation, but this is known too. Like President Obama said it. Known as it. If you met to speak outside of internation monitored database relations, he didn't say that. But that's why, like I saw on YouTube, I'll find the link for, or let's not go. But so when he makes a conviction like that, that's not true always, not noting exceptions. So when there are recorded people that took it themselves to roles, sequence shifting, and database solution stacking with people from my town, interbranch tied, intermilitary, and through what was his internation facilitated. This is also recorded and demonstrated. But see, what people don't understand, because this is enacted through live progression cover-up justifications down to the finite body of value and overall, with all states, areas, and voices in collusion with this, with and as this internation, keeping each nation as suit and tie, fake sides, collusion with the fake sides, counters to it. That's not the Quran. Scholarship, that's not the Quran. They don't have the integrity to fight, to defend the first part of the Quran before it gives the person who believes in Allah, before any of the controversial parts of the Quran, it gives them the part not to believe in Allah. All you have to do is, you can eat pork. Does it mean in Saudi Arabia you're going to bring pork? No. But if you're really doing it, does it mean you? If it's against the Quran, I didn't read this part in the Quran that it's against. You're not supposed to make a cartoon about the messenger. But see, I could understand how that would be a predicate act in that context, because that's a pseudo unity, just like ours was a pseudo unity here. In relationship to fact, treatment, nature, quality, justifications, because everyone's blaming on others. The real cause for when the eyes look, when discernment looks with that at people stacking as a pathology that came out of fact, treatment, nature, slavery uncharged, and with that set up as a fact, treatment bracket to pretend it was slavery, as a multi-front, aggressive containment of all areas, consciously and as a method to keep nature in reaction to it as identities blaming the real causes of negative value nature progressions in acts and natures on other natures like criminal disease and its nature in relationship to this organized crime. So we're going to use organized crime. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a criminal, I'm not a police form, not a military form, but this is all recorded using correlation. English is an identity that the sciences revealed as a value of internation sciences being used before their criminal re-engineering, being used, to liberate what then became taken over by in semi-ancient times per what they knew would unfold as modern nations fighting to be unity as criminal insidiousness natures would this fluent through us, would that cause as like a machine in relationship to the quality of fact treatment nature we are as value, as physical value, where physical value is simultaneous with nature value and simultaneously with nature value relationship to itself as a value of a progression, which is the course, what causes positive or negative value nature progression. And so Facebook is recorded being used to facilitate and to cover up juxtapositions of natures of crimes, with interbranch actors recorded directing this through time, through criminal international persuasions, through the means of live progression cover-up natures and needs they have. So the same way anybody of the phenomena of any color was not allowed, not even to speak about it, building infrastructure, or how stupid it was, the way they put the pathology of it, tactically denatured the water underground. They're perpetually, a breaching method is perpetually exploiting. You know, it's a minority, but everyone was made with six. We have to not look to hurt people when we justify what the law is. We have to understand it's ill having done that, and not only having done that, but having done that as reactions, because raised by their roles with criminality that came before everyone was born. Different natures of same way that branches were roles hiding this and motivations hiding that originally and still. So we use what is true always, only in all contexts. But they're saying people are making allegations because they're stacking natures of crime, because they're stacking methods of crime, exploiting how we don't have one nation there or here in relationship to that level of stability they have. Real scary, tied to defending our shared students here, our shared relationship to medical needs. In case someone has something wrong. They're using those databases because of the phenomena, the way it makes people not talk, because you're not supposed to say medical information. They're just forging names interbranch to cover up lie progressions. This was how areas and states were and are maintained, motivated to roles, leaving the directors of our agencies as victim predators, criminally foreign influence, roles with experiments, trying to learn, because they're victim predators of pseudo-education, physical delusion propagation. In other words, criminal insidiousness nature that the Constitution can't be if defended. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, because that was being maintained to maintain areas, actual cause of negative value nature progressions, acts and illusions, acts like predicate acts. We'll talk about organized crime terms, but because this is what this is about. If you're not doing this, you're blaming it on prejudice. If you're doing that, you're keeping a method that's capable of keeping areas locked into polarities, and hurt by what that's only capable of being a sophistication nature, a fact-cheating nature. Role with areas not by accident, inclusion with recorded systemic lies, physical delusions in relationship to treatments of times with time slots, in relationship to topics, like not about the algorithm and about their thing, but about reality, about evidences treatments, because we have offensive, criminally foreign influence branches not demonstrated such. And offensively, they're using fake sides of news to steal both sides of people's opinions. And their areas maintain criminally foreign influence to this, rolls with it, because they have stories and all kinds of. So we need the news. So then if you start pointing out the recorded proofs of this, with their database solution stacking with areas, inter-industry, inter-campus, and with branches, and with the only realized nature of agencies. But and no one realizes because everyone's like this, criminal insidiousness nature, or animal fighting, what they force, multi-front, through a crime method of directing strangers to make confessions. In other words, they're keeping. This is a crime method keeping investigations manifest, to keep natures of investigators and investigation formal, fact-treatment nature, judges, fact-treatment nature formal, intermilitary, kept compromised, kept needing to cover up lie progression, of victim predators, different kind of, what is it called, brainwashed, worse, invested to it because there's a breaching organized crime method. The devil's not a ghost. It's maintenance. It's a method of maintenance to the keeping the actual cause of negative value nature progressions blamed on others. Areas maintaining the lies they need to tell offensively, pretending they don't realize. Maintain capable areas motivated through the sciences, each one. Recorded physical delusion propagating. Recorded roles preventing each surface value of the Constitution from being defended against methods of crime that just take a little more work. And they're using how we were shared as a fake identity, still abridged, since before our founders and since after. That's why James Madison had to beg the courts. Even though he was the justice, he had to hide that. He had to hide that, James Madison, because he was the founding father with the plan. That's why George Washington had to retreat. No one knew what was going on because this was a fact-cheating racket they had to counter. A database relationship. Identities of value to a progression that no one understood. As sequence shifting. Sabotage. Justification natures, roles. Cultivated consciously. Everyone has ours. Cultivated consciously. Blaming out others. Consciously, this keeps the nature of politics too vicious and vile to let this claimed. And they say, oh, it's Bush's fault. In that context, the Trade Center got hit. That's tied to all kinds of scary things at once in a progression that every nation doesn't understand what by once, not by accident. For the devil, a breaching organized crime. This is more logical. We have physical delusion propagation, criminal uses of what the Constitution is, every surface fact consciously. Fake, predatory, pretend care for what Jesus is about, or his name, or something like that, in the physical things. Consciously multi-front. Fake hate against that. Not by accident. This is against each age of fact-cheating nature. The same breaching organized crime method each nation. It has nothing to do with money. Controls fact-cheating nature. Controls reactions. But see, we're all locked in the nave. Not one area of one nation realized, people stack and denature relationship to nature. Just you could animate. Evolution is the machine of life that works for itself or leaves. It shows evolution or de-evolution is course. See, the unity sought to justify that is a criminal insidiousness nature, because it's justifying a nature of internation sciences in collusion with what it is to the tactical degradation of the nature of all areas and of all states. Because the fact-cheating nature, organized crime method, against each age of fact-cheating of correlation nature, which is multi-front, manifest, finite, active, body of value. Yin-yang is a cross-section, is a transverse section, like that's what Central Connecticut State University. I learned, and see all these classes. You can't but it was a good class. But I learned also there's database illusion stacking and methods, and we have to have them reported because they are for off campuses police, pretending it's about off campuses training of undercovers and relationships to that. And just natural placements in campuses tied to doctors and to their patients, into intercampus relationships to things like the policing of stores, policing of drugs, in conjunction, in juxtaposition with this, with time as a weapon against everyone's fact-cheating nature. In relationship to simultaneously, consciously, to what is needs by our fact-cheating nature naturally presented to us. For example, with Pete, what causes the evolution? The perfect temperature. The nature of positive that is always also positive unto itself. The perfect course. The value of the identity of space will only perfectly progress. That's why it forces belief of IDs. See, so we stay overall internation unity that the justification of is as a fact-cheating nature that can only do so because of the sciences or inter-science, criminally foreign influence. Areas maintain such. Now online maintained us too. So what we need is to know, what we need is, if someone says something is allegations, we need that person to be able to say, we need to be able to record it there. They're doing tricks real fast and then doing the high child predators still. Facebook. I'm sure Facebook doesn't understand that because they're thinking with physical delusions. And the nature is kept where they're going to say, oh, look how smart I am. She's smart. And then now they have motivations, criminally foreign influence to defend smart. What is not smart. We're not using what is true only all ways and only in all contexts. They have sequence shifts. We have interbranch actors recorded criminally foreign influence with their police. There's interbranch police forms juxtaposed with our executive police forms and private police forms and our military police forms, all criminally foreign influence with areas. All through directed database illusion stacking rules, tied to areas illusion stacking rules. Because they're setting up people needing to defend, pretending they don't realize rules with courts and with prisons database illusion stacking, torturing people this way. Fact-cheating nature torture. If you're in context in Hartford, Connecticut, recorded through time, and or in the suburbs tied to it, for the same actors, that fact-cheating nature torture, you try to simply protract what you could do in short time, all the criminal positions upon Hartford, Connecticut, upon pseudosciences, the pseudoscience defenses with areas in interscience and intercampus, and right in people's homes, forced rackets like Bellevue Square. They call it poverty and stuff like that. They're using that as it's the same thing they use black and white for. Poverty, they call it. Because everyone's Oz, victim predator of a fact treatment racket. It's pseudoscience. When you have the people stacked like that, and then you have those natures of police and prison, criminal justice, employees also with the area with rackets, just blaming everything on others. Everyone incapable of defending their identity of value and as value relationship and their own thought. They're all reliant upon doctors they don't even know of mental health. And these are recorded 6 men and women. Also, their whole families put there too, juxtaposed specifically because they're recorded and confessed, they're recorded conscious in crime rolls with courts, and courts conscious crime rolls with them, and that consciously with them with the areas through time. They even pretend things are recorded that weren't. This is why we have this is also with them intercampus. This is also with them interreligious tied to that, facilitated to and as that, perpetually, from what came since before our founders and before our births and before theirs who were born before us. This is recorded. So we have sequence, nay, the wind that's gone away must stand and speak, or still will leak. Leak of Hadith, for space nature transfer, by the identity of space, lost course returned. So if you cut a body of value of a tomato in half, then you cut a slice of that. You cut a transverse section, you put it on a microscope, you're going to see the. So I can't remember now. I think it's 2 parts of the nucleus, and then the body, and then there's the cell wall, and then the cell wall connects to the other cell walls. So there's a whole bunch of these cells connected. Now, the identity of the physical nucleus as value, as a nature, and the identity of the body of the cell as value, as nature, then that's like shared in the nucleus, and then it's like shared, they're valued together in the wall, without a body. But then it has the other body of the cells also like that, in that per the one coming through, the identity of value coming through as nature, as the nature that is the value to all physical parts of all cells, of all different parts of the plant. And I've never seen. She looked at my skin cells or something. I've never seen that. I don't know. I have to look on YouTube if there are cells to look at, because I wish I had. I'm going to draw it for the cartoon value nature system. That's how I'm going to draw it, because that's a cartoon, and you can tell because I'm going to use the yin yang for the nucleus. But see, why would I give that up first before? Why would I try to put that not into the cartoon right first? Because this is in relationship to the Trinity value. And this is in relationship to the nature of internation sciences that is being force glorified, that is in collusion with and as the cause of the worst natures of crime sustained, the worst impositions by the juxtaposed natures of investigations and of investigators forced to all areas sustained. Everyone and everything is fake. They have sense takes on who's good and who's bad. That's worse. That are worse than hearsay. And that's why there were area crime motivations to exploit undercover looking like they're homeless. Then you have to defend that as a fact sheet in nature. Science never gets to try to touch that point. Only an expert can. Only experts, only criminally foreign influence. For example, multi-front, at the same time, other impositions. When we look at it with science and discernment's value. Our nature has the nature of positive beyond its control too, just like our physical body has it beyond control. It's the Trinity of demonstration to us. The cells are in demonstration of it, only has positive or negative value relationship to itself per its needs that cause evolution. What we want. It doesn't. Reward is a physical. It's a progression of value better than rewards. A whole bunch of rewards. What everyone couldn't believe. All we have to do is admit every modern nation fell to an ancient trap. Therefore, we rap. Then we have means. Where it's making money to get there. We're going to fix the relationship. People don't even realize all the water's underground.